Good evening, everyone. Hey, it's Gina with Rise Up from Trauma Coaching. Good evening. Well, our guest unfortunately had to cancel this evening. I was going to say this morning, but this evening, and so we're just going to make this short and sweet and simple. And hopefully, in the near future, we can have her back on again. But I just wanted to go live and kind of give you an update as far as what we're doing in the next couple of weeks, what kind of guests we're having, who we're having, what's going on here at Rise Up from Trauma Coaching. So next week, July 15th, we will have Jen Fisher. And Jen is a solo traveler, and she is absolutely amazing. And so what Jen does is she's a blogger. She's written ebooks. And so what she has learned to do is use solo travel to help her heal her trauma. So through being outdoors and, through kind of like recreational therapy in a way, what she has done is she camps. She does like truck camping and canoeing, just all kinds of things that she does, hiking, fishing, all those things that get you in the great outdoors. They really have a lot of healing principles to them. And a lot of people don't understand this and they don't realize this, but being in the outdoors is just an amazing thing. You're out, you're just out, you get the energy from that emits from the ground, from the trees and all that stuff. So Jen, as a trauma survivor, she has learned again to do solo travel. And by doing that, she was able to regulate her nervous system and keep her in a regulated state, which is amazing because most trauma survivors, when they become dysregulated, it's very hard for them to stay regulated. Hi, Linda. And so it's amazing. And I'm so honored to have her. So she will be on next week and she'll kind of share about a little bit of her journey, about solo traveling. What I love about it is she actually gives some information too about if you go to the airport, and just different things about traveling around. So, the content that she has and the blogging that she does is actually pretty phenomenal. And so that's coming up next week on the 22nd. Hi, Heather. We actually have another wonderful trauma survivor. Her name is Casey. And Casey is a 3-time trauma survivor of cancer. So she had acute lymphoblastic leukemia, and she's a stroke survivor. And so what she does is she uses somatic movements and breath work to actually help her clients on their healing journeys, which is another healing modality in relation and in addition to traditional talking and things like that too. Because as trauma survivors, that trauma sits in our physiological, which is our systems. And so in our bodies, kind of like the body keeps the score. And so these types of movements help get all of that trapped trauma, which is the emotions that are kind of stored within our systems and stuff like that. So she's going to come on, kind of give us some information about what she does, again, tell us about herself, what she does, and hopefully give us a little bit of somatic movement and breath work, some demonstrations, which will be fantastic. I'm trying to think going through here and then heading out. And then I will have on July 29th, I'm not going to get into August yet, but on July 29th, I'll have Alyssa. And I don't know what I did with Alyssa's stuff. Let me see if I can find it. I apologize. So Alyssa is a domestic violence survivor. And she will be working on in-depth about triggering. And so she does a podcast, phenomenal lady as well. And so what she does is she is a trauma survivor and she helps women from relationships decide if they need to stay or go and help empower them to heal, regulate their nervous system, and defend their boundaries so that they can reclaim their power. And also she uses NLP, which is a process. It's a thought process. And what NLP does is it helps you change your negative thinking and like your cognitive distortions into like positive ones and doing those types of things. So I'll be excited to have her on as well and stuff. So those are the 3 we're having. I would love to get more men on here and kind of, because it's important for men's health as well. We did have Sly Fox. We had Charles on here. And why it's important, I won't keep you guys very long, but why it's important is that a lot of men don't get help because of the environment or what they were raised up in. So a lot of men don't get help because they were always taught to be strong. Going and seeking help is for the weak, or, don't cry, don't show your emotions. And so men tend to have this tough guy facade about them when in fact, it's okay to cry. It's okay to show your vulnerability and to cry and all those things. Those things are okay, but when you're brought up in environments that keep kind of telling you over and over and over and over and over again that that's not the right way, we end up bottling up all those emotions, and then those come out in other ways, which they come out as anger, frustration. There's mood disorders. There's so many, or mood swings. There's so many things that happen when we bottle up all of those emotions and stuff. Chronic pain throughout our entire body, digestive issues, brain fog. There's so many different things that trauma causes and the after effects of trauma. So I would love to have more men, because I believe that men's mental health is a huge part of healing as well. They need to know that they're seen, heard, and that people care about them as well. So, but what I will do is, I don't know how many I have on. So I have, I don't have very many on, but I will do one giveaway. I don't know where my t-shirts are, but I'll find them. They're floating around, because remember last week I had trouble trying to find them and stuff. But for all of you wonderful guests that come week after week and that you support me, I really appreciate it more than you know. So let me get to the, see if I can find it now, the StreamYard tool, and see if we can figure this out and anything. I know it's going to take me a minute. Last week when I tried to get there, I was like, oh, I couldn't figure it out. And then after I got off, I was like, oh yeah, that's where it is. So it was kind of funny how I ended up finding it. And now I'm thinking, oh, am I going to be able to find it again? Oh my goodness gracious. So, oh, this is crazy. And I'm like, okay, where is this thing? I'll put up one of my things here. Put that up there for a second. So I apologize. So how's your week been going? Is it hot where you are? And probably is. I know it was warm today. So Linda, you can ask questions. Absolutely. You are more than welcome to ask whatever you would like. And it's I just didn't see the email when she when she messaged me this morning. For some reason I didn't get a notification. So she did message me this morning, but it's okay. Or I would have had a topic or something else to share this evening. So it's okay. And I'll have her back on, because I know that that emergencies do take place and things do happen. So we will see about having her on again. I'm trying to figure out, I figured this out last week, and of course, here we are again, trying to figure out the StreamYard tool, and I can't figure it out again. I'm like, oh my goodness gracious. I don't know what it is with me. I'm like, oh my golly. So regulating your nervous system. So so what would you like to know? Do you want me to kind of go over some of the maybe a couple of the techniques that I know about regulating your nervous system? I'm going to say co-regulating, but some of the things that I use. The tool giveaway. Okay, let me look and see. I thought that's where it was, but it's interesting how I found it last week and now I can't find it this week. I'm like, it's so funny. Oh, there it is. Because it was in the first paragraph, I couldn't see it. All right, so let me kind of explain a little bit about dysregulation in case anybody here doesn't really understand what dysregulation is. So dysregulation is when your nervous system is kind of like hijacked, and it kind of comes from the body keeps the score. And I know I keep saying that, but that's really important because that's a lot of times what ends up happening. So dysregulation could be that you have excessive nervousness, maybe excessive sadness. You're just real irritable. You're maybe mood swings. So you kind of have those highs and lows of different things. And so the dysregulation is also maybe hand sweaty, kind of like your heart palpitating. You just kind of feel off, like you're not balanced. And so some of the things that I do is there's a breathing technique. So the breathing technique is called the 5-finger breathing technique. And so here's your 5 fingers. So what you do is you take your other finger, index finger, and on the up, you're going to inhale. So you're going to inhale through your nose. And then as you turn around, you're going to exhale slowly. And you're going to continue to do that. So you're going to inhale, exhale. So you're going to do that all the way around. And so they call that the 5-finger, it's the 5-finger breathing technique, which is a good one. So that's one way that you can regulate. Another way that you can regulate your nervous system is do you have an animal in the house, Linda? Some people, no animal. Okay, that's okay. So let me show you something really quick. Because you don't have an animal. So I can't remember what these things are called. Anyway, I don't know what they're called, but okay. So if you had an animal, I would just say, let the animal kind of get on your lap and kind of just pet them and stuff like that too. I can't think of what these things are called. I have another one in the house I should have brought out too. Another thing you can do is, let me get in my thing here, because sometimes my brain goes a mile a minute and then I can't really remember what I want to say. So I'm gonna kind of, not that I'm cheating, but I'm gonna go into my workbook and yours will be going out. And let me, so you got that one, and everything that I'm telling you is actually will be in the workbook that you're getting. And so one of my favorite ones that I like to do is, another one that I like to do is the, to regulate your nervous system. Let me see. I want to make sure I get it right. So I want to find it in here really quick about the, okay. Again, I just did the nose breathing, which is the fingers. You can use that as well. Sunshine. So what I do is if I become dysregulated, what I like to do, so Slide bringing me my other one. Thank you. What are those things called? Plushies? I don't even know what they're called, but okay. I don't know. Another thing I like to do is I like to just sit in the window and let the sun kind of hit me. And so what that does is it not only does it increase your vitamin D and like your D3 levels, but another wonderful thing is it sends signals to the brain to release the dopamine and the serotonin that's made in your gut. And then again, like I said, you're boosting your immunity. And then again, your natural, your vitamin D levels naturally, which is huge too. Snapping. I did another video on YouTube about snapping. What snapping does, it's pretty interesting. So snapping is a combination of the swift movement and satisfying sounds produced by snapping our fingers actually engages our sensory pathways to our brains. So what's happening is when you're dysregulated and you divert your attention to something else, it helps to calm you down too. It's audibly. So as you're listening to this and you're doing it, it's changing. And what happens is you're getting the feedback and the movement. And so it's calming you down as well, which is a cool thing as well. Tapping. So you could start tapping in different areas. You can tap. And so what the tapping does, again, is it's diverting your attention and diverting what's happening, your dysregulation, into something different. So let's say that I know anxiety, panic attacks, anxiety attacks, those types of things, really end up getting people. And so if you are one of them that's listening, you do have them. What I like to tell my clients is this, or, my guest as well, is if you catch yourself hyperventilating, try to breathe in and out of your nose. And I know that's the hardest thing to do, but what you're going to do is when you do that, you're going to regulate your nervous system, and it's going to stop you from hyperventilating, which is huge. Guided imagery. And again, Linda, all of these is all of these are in the workbook that you will be receiving, because you were one of the winners. I just haven't had a chance to mail it out yet. So guided imagery is a huge thing. That's when you can put on, you can download an app or go to YouTube under guided imagery. And what it does is you close your eyes and you just sit there and you listen to somebody guide you as if you're walking through like this peaceful place. So it'd be like you're walking on the beach, you hear the waves, you hear the birds chirping, you hear the trees and the leaves just kind of moving, and the sun shining down on you, those types of things as they're doing the guided imagery. So it's like literally you feel yourself kind of relaxing. It's amazing. I'm sorry, Heather. And so what it does when you do those is it reduces stressors and anxiety, improves sleep, decreases pain, and decreases depression and a lot of the nervousness, which is the dysregulation, and those types of things too. And then one of the other things, because Sly Fox brought me out my other one, my daughter knows what these things are called, but I can't remember what they are. And so I call them my relaxation animals. I don't even know, but this is Mr. Bunny and Mr. Squid. And so what I love about these is, as you see, they're made with chunky yarn. And what I love is that they're textured. So if you have animals, if you have like a chunky blanket or a minky blanket, it's about the texture. So see how this one, you can kind of pull on it and feel it. So what happens is when you become dysregulated and you're feeling this and you're, kind of stroking it and kind of just petting it, whatever you're doing to it, feeling it, what it does is it diverts your attention away. It lets your body know that you're safe and that things are going to be okay. So it helps your body and helps your mind to realize that things are going to be okay by diverting your attention onto what you're feeling. And that's what we call mindfulness. So the mindfulness is looking and feeling and saying, oh, I can feel the beaded eyes. I can feel the texture on the squid. I can feel that this is twisted, the twisted yarn. I can feel all that. It's looking at Mr. Bunny and saying, I can feel where the pinks in his ears stick out. I can feel the chunky yarn. I can feel the texture. I can feel that his tail is sticking out, and, and his eyes and his nose. And so when you do that, again, it sends a signal to the brain to say, okay, I'm safe. Everything's going to be okay. And as you do this, what it does is it starts regulating your nervous system. You start settling down and kind of calming down and things like that as well. So those are some of the things that I do. Self-talk is a huge one. Positive self-talk. So positive affirmation. So when you are dysregulated, I'm okay. I'm safe. And talking to yourself like that, again, helps to regulate your nervous system as well. If you're having dysregulation every day, it sounds like, the dysregulation is caused. There's could be different things as far as what's causing the dysregulation. And I do know you did share some things with me. And so, the mind is a wonderful tool, but unfortunately what ends up happening is the mind is very, very powerful, and the mind does not know what's real or fake. So when the mind starts producing these thoughts and everything like that, it's up to you to tell your mind and to tell your body that that's fake or that's real. And if you don't, what ends up happening is your body reacts. And when your body reacts, the next time you have that thought, your body's going to react in that way, because you're not using the like restructuring. You're not, I shouldn't say definitely, but the restructuring is when you take that thought and you say, okay, no, that's not a real thought. And so you kind of talk yourself out of it in a way, so that thought kind of goes away. You're welcome, Linda. What other questions do you have? All right, let me see this one. What if you're in an environment where you might be safe, but not necessarily positive, and you can't outthink your mind? That's a good one. So the best thing to do is, if you are in an environment that you're safe, and it's not positive, and you keep becoming dysregulated, and because of your mind, the best thing to do is get out of that environment and leave it for just a few minutes, because there's something within that environment that is causing the dysregulation. And so even stepping outside and taking a couple deep breaths in your nose and out your nose. When you do it in your nose and out your nose, you actually activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest. And that's where your calming comes back in. The mind, again, is very powerful. So you have to learn the cognitive restructuring. And so cognitive restructuring is taking your thought, whatever your thought is, and restructuring it into something more positive. And that's very hard for trauma survivors to do, because we allow that thought to linger, and we allow it to kind of invade our body when we shouldn't. But it's just, who we are. And as that happens, we stay in that dysregulated state. Does that answer your question, Kelsey? You're welcome. And so another thing I do want to say for you too, another thing is even if you're with your mind. So what ends up happening is the body remembers what the mind does not. So when the body remembers something, it automatically activates the fight or flight in the amygdala. And so that's why your body starts getting dysregulated, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. So what I like to tell people is to really look at when that happens, to really look at the triggering aspect of it. Who are you with? What was said? Where are you? And those types of things, because there's something within that environment that's causing that. And when you have the fight or flight and you have that dysregulation in your body, a lot of people, what ends up happening to them is their mind automatically goes to something negative, because as trauma survivors, that's what we normally do. And when your body goes to, when your mind goes to something negative, when you're already amped up and your amygdala is already hijacked and your body's already dysregulated, now you're throwing in all of this negative mindset. So now it's really amping you up, because it's now dumping cortisol and adrenaline into your system. And so now you're wanting to flee or fight, and normally most of us don't. And so that's where it becomes even worse, because that adrenaline and cortisol deposits back into our systems. And that's really where it ends up wreaking more havoc. Okay. Oof, this is a tough one. I have to testify against my abuser in a couple of weeks. Any suggestions for when I have to take the stand to relieve those moments? Oof. I am so sorry that you have to do that. Nope, that's okay, in front of the jury and my abuser. So first of all, let me just tell you that I am so sorry that you have to do this, because I know that it is it's something that is going to really cause a lot of dysregulation in you, especially seeing your abuser being in front of a jury. That is very, very hard. What I would recommend that you do is what they call progressive muscle relaxation. Do it then leading up to, I would start it tonight. And you can look it up, progressive muscle relaxation. So let me just tell you about it really quick. And then when you look it up, it'll make sense to you. So what you're going to do is you're going to start with your feet, and you're going to squeeze your feet and your toes as tight as you can. You're going to count to 10 very slowly, and then you're going to release them very slowly. You're going to do that all the way up until you get to your head, and so your face. And so a lot of people, I'm just going to take my glasses off and show, because a lot of people, like, I don't know how to do my face, and I didn't at first either. So what you're going to do is when you get up to your face, you're going to squeeze your face as tight as you can. And you're going to just squeeze and squeeze and squeeze for 10 seconds. And then, don't release it as quick as I did, but just release it. And what you're going to want to do is do your whole entire body. What that's going to do is that's going to take out a lot of the additional emotions that are going to start flaring between now and then. A lot of that's going to happen. Then I would like you to do maybe some self-talk. I'm safe. I'm okay. And different things like that, to kind of get your mind of what, getting your mindset a little bit changed as well. So your body will know that you're safe, and that your mind will know that you're safe. While you're up there on the stand, some of the things that you can do is to kind of keep yourself regular. It's going to be very hard, and I'm not going to lie. I don't sugarcoat anything. It's going to be hard for you. But the best thing that you can do is that you can breathe through your nose and out your nose to help regulate yourself and regulate your parasympathetic nervous system. That's one of the biggest things. I don't know if you're a Christian or not. If you are, praying would really help. If you're not, that's okay too. Not focusing on your abuser. So when you're in the courtroom, and because I know that your emotions are going to fly as you're sitting in the courtroom. There's a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding technique. And so basically, when you're sitting in the courtroom, you're going to look at 5 things you can see. What are 5 things in that room you can see? What are 4 things you can touch? And so you can do this if you can do this when you're on the stand too, as long as you're one of those ones that you can listen to the question and you're not get spaced out like I would. But you'll want to look at 4 things that you can touch. Thank you, Suzanne. Yes, absolutely. She is. And so that could be feet on the ground, the back of your chair. You could feel your hair. When you're up on the stand, you can use tapping. So you can actually kind of, I'll stand up so you can do it. But when you're sitting, but you won't be able to see me, but let me maybe move back a little bit more. So what you can do is kind of tap your legs, tap the side of your legs when you're on the stand. Or you can kind of do this while you're on the stand if you need to. So basically what that does is it kind of calms you down, but it's directing your attention to something else. And you can still rub your legs and still pet your legs and do this without, they'll notice, but they're not going to know why you're doing it. Or sometimes even if I'm in session and I get dysregulated in session, I'll rub my arms, and sometimes it becomes a habit, or I will rub my legs. But it's 5 things you can see. So objects in the room or out the window. I know the court doesn't normally have windows. 4 things you can touch: feet on the ground, back of the chair, your hair, and so this is building mindfulness as well and diverting your attention. 3 things you can hear. What are you hearing around you? It could be, somebody's crinkling up paper, somebody's doing something else. So those types of things. Two things you can smell. Is there something that you can smell? And then one thing you can taste. So what the beauty of this last one is amazing. One thing you can taste, and there's actually a relaxation technique that we use, kind of, and it's like it's not really a relaxation. Sorry, it's more of a mindfulness. And what it is so there might not be anything that you can really taste, but what you do is you start thinking of an object of like fruit, like just say an apple, a banana, an orange, and then you start thinking apple, 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 and you say that in your mind. And then you think about slicing the apple. And then you think about, oh, what does the peel taste like? Well, the wonderful thing is our mind is so powerful. And this is what I'm saying. The mind is powerful that when you think about an apple, my mouth is already watering now, and I already have the taste of an apple. That's how powerful our mind is. So even though you can't taste it, or I'm sorry, even though you don't have anything maybe to put in your mouth or, or anything like that, the mind is so powerful that you'll be able to taste that apple or that banana or that orange. Or you can say, oh, I wish I had a piece of gum. And then before you know it, you might have that peppermint taste in your mouth. So the mind is huge. It's very powerful. The other one that I shared was the five finger breathing. You can do that. While you're on the stand, you can just do it with your finger and just breathe through your nose and not too fast. I don't want you to hyperventilate or anything like that when you're on the stand, because I know you're already going to be nervous, but I would recommend that, that you breathe through your nose and inhale and exhale through your nose. And hopefully that'll kind of keep you in your regulated state. But I will be thinking about you, and I am a Christian, so I will keep you on my prayer list and things like that. I hope that's okay. Because I know going through them, it's really not, it's not any good. I really wish that Gabby was here. Gabby is a trauma survivor herself, and just not too long ago, she had to face her abuser, pro se, after he was sent to prison, and he filed a pro se, which was with no attorney. And so she had to face him after so long, because in the state of Indiana, I'm sure it's in any state, but in the state of Indiana, he was allowed to file and see his accuser face to face. And so that's what he did. So again, I'm so sorry that you're going through that. And you're more than welcome. My email and all that is on there. So, okay. So it's okay. So it's pro se as well. Wow. Okay. So that's going to be a little bit more. Yeah, I'll definitely be praying for you as well, because that is, when, and trauma survivors, when we go through things like this, a lot of people don't understand the triggering aspect that comes from this. And so you may seem like you're okay and you're regulated, and all of a sudden you go through something like Kelsey's going through, and something that Gabby had to go through. And it changes you, because you're triggered. What ends up happening is you go back in those flashbacks, and unfortunately the court systems don't understand the flashbacks, the complex PTSD that comes along with facing our abuser and things like that. And so Gabby and I are really working together. She's a phenomenal young woman. And so we're working together to come up with a plan and to come up with things so trauma survivors that have to go pro se, we can come into the courts and actually approach the courts and tell them how damaging this is to trauma survivors to have to go through things like this. So it's we're really trying a lot of different things to try to see how we can help. So absolutely, it's a backward system. And yeah, and it's the hardest thing. It's the hardest thing. And so, a lot of shame and guilt is going to rise up. But the most important thing that I like to tell trauma survivors too is, you did the right thing. And, as a trauma survivor myself, I speak out about the things that I've gone through. because it's important to know that we have a voice, and we have a voice for the voiceless. We have a voice for the people that have not found their voice to step out and speak about the things that happen to them. So again, my email is in the, well, actually it's beautifulflawedwarrior@gmail.com. So if you would like to email me, you're more than welcome to. And kind of, we can kind of talk back and forth and kind of help you as well. So, but while we're talking, let me get this. I am going to give, you are more than welcome. I'm going to figure out how do I present. Maybe this is it. Oh yeah, share screen. Okay. So I'm going to StreamYard. Okay, share. Okay. So this is hashtag t-shirt, or if you're old like me, it's actually the pound, the pop sign. Oh, goodness gracious. You are most welcome. So hashtag t-shirt. Let me see. I have them floating around here. Oh, I do. Okay. So I will give away a couple of them. And let me see. So you'll have your choice. Let me go back and put, well, it was hashtag t-shirt. So once they start going, and got to type it in the chat to win. But I will put it back up there in just a second. I just wanted to show you the t-shirts. So here's one of the t-shirts. And so what it says is, I'm beautifully broken, perfectly imperfect, beautiful in my flaws, all together. I am a beautiful warrior. That one. This one is just warrior. Tells the definition of a warrior. A person who shows great vigor, courage, determination, inner strength, and heroism when confronted with challenges and obstacles, a trauma survivor. Beautiful flawed warrior. And there's a warrior on the back with a cross. And then still I rise. And so those are the 4 choices that you have. Those are the four choices. Of those there. Oh, all right. Any other questions? So I think we have 3. So it is hashtag. Hopefully, oh, let me see. Whoops, I got to get over here and do it again. Whoop, somehow. Now I'm like, how do I get it on there? Hashtag t-shirt. There we go. Welcome, everyone. Hi, Yoko. All right. How many entries do we have? We have 5. Can I get another entry? Another entry? Would be fantastic. We can get 6. All right, so we're waiting to do that. Let me, oh, 5 with 9 here. Okay, yeah. Okay, I guess that would be, okay. I'll draw in just a minute. I just want to, so another thing that we're doing, and after all of our lives, I try to mention this as well. But mark your calendars for October 25th and 26th. It'll be our second. All right, give me just a second, Kelsey. So it would be October 25th and 26th. And we are doing our first virtual mental health and trauma conference. It's worldwide online, and so virtually. And so we are super excited. We will have 3 keynote speakers. Myself and Gabby will be speaking about overcoming our childhood trauma with God, and kind of the things that God is setting us up to do, which is amazing. Dr. J, if you attended our May conference, or if you happen to see any of my videos, she was one of the speakers from my May conference. She's going to be one of our keynote speakers as well. So we're going to have 3 keynote speakers, and then there'll be 20 different breakout and workshops. So we're going to have neurographic art. There will be journaling. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to go off the top of my head. Neurographic art, journaling. We will have breath work, somatics. There will be waltzing, self-defense, cognitive distortions. What is your ACEs score? And then kind of interpret what your ACEs score means. So many different things. Healing, transforming shame and guilt into empowerment. And I know I'm missing something else in there. Things for teachers, the regulated teacher, how to regulate the classroom, how to see, you know what, I'm just going to get my list because I kind of stink when it comes to, I'm like, where's my list? Oh, I don't even know where my list is. Sorry. Okay. Regulated teacher. So we have tons and tons of phenomenal topics. And so you'll be able to pick and choose whichever ones you want to go to. And it's just going to be a wonderful informational, because a lot of people don't realize, again, that, you know, you can do traditional talk therapy or traditional coaching or just talking in general. But it takes more for trauma survivors, because the trauma is trapped in the emotional aspects of it and stuff like that too. So it's like, oh man. All right. So Kelsey asked another question. I don't mean to take over this chat, and I totally get it. But what do you suggest as I still miss my abuser? I've been diagnosed with, and she said, like batters women's something. So yes. So what I would suggest is really working with, I'm sure you're probably working with like domestic violence, like the crisis, like crime victim services. You're probably working with them, or maybe some of their therapists or mentors that they're working in there. I would highly suggest that you start working with a certified trauma recovery coach of some sort if you feel comfortable. And not only because I am one myself, but this is why. Trauma survivors, sorry, let me back up. Coaches are trauma survivors with the lived experience. So finding a certified coach that has gone through domestic violence, narcissistic abuse, those different things. Not only can they help you, but what happens is they can offer more empathy and compassion, because they understand what you're going through. They have the lived experience. They did what they needed to overcome what they did. And so the beauty of it is they can sit with you. And even if you say, I can't describe what I'm going through, sometimes trauma is an indescribable feeling. And so they understand exactly what you're going through. Nothing against therapy, nothing against psychologists, psychiatrists by any means, because they are needed at certain times, maybe in your healing journey. I was with one for a lot of years. And when I became certified, there were some questions that I asked. And so in the meantime, it worked for me up to a certain degree. When I switched and became a coach and worked with my own trauma coach, that's when the light bulb went off, and a lot of changes started taking place within me. A lot of things I started doing. Yes, God was the ultimate reason. he led me into what I'm doing for my healing so I could sit on the other side and help other trauma survivors heal on their healing journeys as well. But I would definitely consider working with a coach or trying to find a trauma-informed domestic violence or some sort of abuse therapist. And so, yeah, unfortunately, I do not. Yes. And I like I like what Sly said, because what trauma survivors see as normal isn't normal, and you have to retrain your brain. And that's absolutely correct. And so it's kind of the same thing that you're going through. The reason that you, sort of miss your abuser, it's probably because of the manipulation and the control. And that's what your body was used to. That's what you're used to. So now not having that, it's foreign to you. Like, what do I do now that I don't have that anymore? I don't accept insurance, but my fee is very, very low. If you actually go to my website, beautifulflawedwarrior.com, all of my information is there as well. It's very detailed on there as well. And unfortunately, I'm sorry, Kelsey, unfortunately, sometimes that is what happens with working with therapists or psychologists, counselors, social workers, those types. And I'm not knocking them by any means, because I had to use them. There's a time and place for everything. I believe that we all need each other. So it's all like a pyramid. We all literally need each other on this healing journey. It's just that coaches have the lived experiences, and they can offer some of the more compassion, more empathy when it comes to understanding you and understanding how you feel. And I think, again, that's when the light bulb went off for me when I was working with my own coach, and she started relating. When listening to me, she could relate. And so if I just sat there in silence, she knew why I was sitting in silence and stuff. And so Suzanne said the same thing. I quit my therapist. Yes. And so after 25 years off and on of going to mine, unfortunately, I quit mine. And here's why. PTSD is on the DSM-5, and complex PTSD, CPTSD, is not. And so a lot of trauma survivors have what's called complex trauma, CPTSD. And it's because it's not on the DSM-5, a lot of what they're learning with the neuroscience and the neurobiology coming out of it, a lot of the licensed mental health professionals aren't learning all that. And so they're looking at, why is the body reacting the way that it's doing? Why is it that, how does trauma affect your brain? How does trauma affect your gut? How does trauma affect your limbic system, your hippocampus? I know I'm getting technical here, but your hippocampus, your amygdala, your prefrontal cortex, your anterior cingulate cortex, all of your brain, all of your body, how does it affect it? And so a lot of psychologists, they only know about the brain. And so that's the psychological portion of it. A lot of them aren't into the physiological. They know some of it. And it's no fault of their own. That, the books that, that they're taught out of, there's not a whole lot of things that are happening. And so I think they're slowly shifting to become more trauma informed is what's happening. And so the question that I asked my therapist was, do you know what complex trauma is? And she had no idea. And so that's what I'm trained in, as well as complex trauma and neuroscience, and the neuroscience behind the after effects of trauma. And so she had no idea. And I just said, okay. And so that was the turning point for me. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. And so one of the biggest things that I started when I started working with my own coach was that your prefrontal cortex is right here. And so what happens is that when you grow up for childhood trauma, or it's usually in childhood trauma, it's either damaged or underdeveloped. And adult trauma, it does go offline. But what happens is your prefrontal cortex is where your executive functioning, your logical thinking. And that's why as we're growing up in our teen years and before we hit 25 and 26, there's times when we're immature, we make stupid decisions, irresponsible decisions, we're daredevils, all of that stuff, because our prefrontal cortex is not fully developed. So then you take trauma on top of it not being fully developed. And by the time you hit 25 or 26, your prefrontal cortex does not fully develop. So then you're left in this state of living in survival mode where you're totally living in trauma brain. So trauma self. And every decision that you're making is based on your trauma, based on the emotions of how your body feels. I used to be a huge, impulse. I used to be a huge, golly, now my brain just went blank. Sorry. My impulse was my coping mechanism when I would become triggered was shopping. And it was shopping for jewelry. I had a jewelry addiction. And so I thought that having jewelry made me feel good. It did this and did that to me. And so I always bought jewelry. And so that when I was triggered, that's what I wanted to do was buy jewelry. And so I started learning about a year and a half ago. I've been doing this. It'll be 3 years in August. So in about a year and a half ago, it just dawned on me, oh my goodness, I'm literally buying jewelry because I have an addiction. I have an addiction to jewelry because jewelry gives me that feeling temporarily of feeling good. And then all of a sudden I have shopper's guilt, like, oh my goodness, I shouldn't just not spend $4,000 on that ring. I should return it. And so I started realizing the things that I was doing. So when your prefrontal cortex is not fully engaged, what happens, and that's what happens with people with complex trauma. When you make decisions, you're making decisions on your emotions and not being in thriving. It's your emotions in survival mode. So there is a such technique as trauma-informed movements. And what you do with those movements is that, it's a 3-part movement, and it actually gets your prefrontal cortex re-engaged, which is huge. That's huge for trauma survivors. So again, when I started working with my coach, there was just so much that I was learning. Let me tell you this, and this isn't just to say anything about just because I'm a coach, but working with my own coach, I had more healing in 6 months. And again, I'm not saying anything about therapists because we all need them. We're all in there together. But my own personal experience is this. I had more healing in 6 months than I did in the 25 years that I worked with a therapist. And that's my own. I can't say that for everybody, but that's seriously my own journey and my own experience that I had. So, yes. Kelsey, absolutely get on there and check it out. There's a lot of information on my website and things like that as well. And a lot of information about me, kind of my journey, the things that I'm doing and stuff like that as well. So, yeah. Okay. Any other questions? I'm going to go ahead and draw. Let me figure out how to get this thing back up here again. Sorry, guys. If we have any other questions. And so we have 6 entries now that, and we're just going to go ahead and draw. Congratulations. I don't know how to pronounce that, and I'm not sure exactly of your name, but congratulations. So what you're going to want to do is you are going to want to email me at beautifulflawedwarrior@gmail.com. I will put it in the chat. If I can spell it. beautifulflawedwarrior@gmail.com. And I will ask you some questions and things like that as well. And then you'll get to pick. Well, that's my website, not the actual email. And let me know which one you would like, and if you need me to show them to you again. And then I will pick. Let me pick them. Let me get them just in case. Oh, goodness gracious. Again, thank you so much for being on here this evening with us. And I really appreciate each and every one of you coming on and being faithful week after week and coming on and just being that support that we all need. And I'm hoping that you're learning things as we do these. You're learning and it's really helping each and every one of you. Oh, okay. Sorry. Thank you. Hopefully they are still here. Are you still here? I don't know. Oi. I don't know. Hopefully they're still here. If not, I'll hopefully they'll see this or whatever. But I'm going to draw one more. And okay, draw again. All right, we're going to draw one more, and then we will close. Anna. All right. Which one would you like? Congratulations, Anna. Do you want a t-shirt or do you want me to draw again? Yeah, what? Yeah, you want a t-shirt? All right. Hey, Anna, what are these animals called? You know. Now, if you want a t-shirt, you can have one. That's fine. I don't mind. All right. Which one do you want? I don't know what your first name is. Chunky yarn animals. Okay. Well, I think that's what I might have called them. I don't remember, but that might have been what I called them. OYBKN. Yeah. Okay. Are you sure? I don't mind. All right. So I'll draw one more then. All right. Congratulations, Linda. I will have to send this out with your t-shirt or with your book. Which one would you like? So we have, okay, let me go to the big screen again so then you guys can see me. Here we are. Okay. You are welcome. So we have Still I Rise. Thank you, Suzanne. You too. I hope to see you back again on a future live. Beautiful Flawed Warrior. Warrior. Still I Rise. Okay. And Linda, inbox me on Facebook and let me know your size. This Still I Rise. It's just the one that I picked, but this one is, I think it's a 2. Wait, what is this one? Wait, where am I? Yeah, just message me your size just so I know. But this one here, I just picked big. I just grabbed them, but that one there's a 3X. And I have I do have some that are smaller. I might not have your size, so I might have to just give you the size up just so you know, but yes, and stuff like that. So I just want to say thank you again for everybody being here. I really appreciate each and every one of you for taking your time and, again, to be here with me. And kind of doing this week after week again to kind of help trauma survivors to get techniques to help them on their healing journeys, and just to bring education and tools and resources for those that may have a family member and things like that too that may be struggling, or you yourself are struggling. Again, I appreciate each and every one of you for being here and spending time with me. I'm honored and I'm blessed to have each and every one of you here with me. I hope you have a wonderful week. Stay cool as much as you can. I know the temperatures wherever you are, if you're in the States or you're, somewhere else out of the country. I'm sure that I don't know. I know when it could be cold where you are. So if it's cold where you are, definitely make sure you bundle up. I know it's roasting where we are and things like that. So again, thank you, Yoko. It was good to see you. And I will see you next Monday. We will have Jen on. And Jen she will teach you about solo travel and how solo travel has definitely helped her on her healing journey. So again, everyone, good night. And I will talk to you all soon. Bye, everyone.